In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a new rainbow loom bracelet called the Hollow Circle. So what you will need is one loom, and you want to have it set up in a staggered pattern so the pins are not in line with one another. And you want to have the arrows facing towards you so that the opened ends are all facing you so you can reach your hook inside. We're going to be working with just 7 pins. So it can really be anywhere on the whole face of the loom. You just want to find the pins that make a circular pattern. So any 6 pins that make the circle, and then that 7th pin in the center. And then you want to choose your colors. You can choose as many or as few colors as you'd like. So I have 4 different colors. I have 3 different shades of green and then white. So for the first band placement, I'm going to be starting in that center pin. And the band is going to stretch down to the bottom row and to the left towards you. So I'm going to start with the dark green color. It's going to come down to that bottom row. And now I'm just going to work my way around in a clockwise direction. I'm going to stick with that same green color, and I'll just work my way around in a circular pattern, always starting from that center pin. So I'm just going in that clockwise direction right to the next pin every time till I'm back at the start. And then I'm going to place a cap band on this center pin. So in order to do that, I'm going to stick with the same green color, put it on my hook, twist and put it back on to double it, and then just place it right on the top. And now what I want to do is work my way back around the circle in the opposite direction. So I'll be going in a counterclockwise direction. So I'm going to take my hook, reach down through the center. I want to push back on this cap band. So there's going to be 2 bands here. Use the back of my hook to push back and grab that first band on top. And then I'm going to hold the cap band in place with my finger and then pull this band and put it back on the other side. So now this one single band is wrapped around the cap band and then back on the same pin. And I'm going to just keep repeating that pattern in that counterclockwise direction. I'm always grabbing the top band and releasing it and then putting it back on the other pin where the other side is. Again, push back on that cap band and then release it from that center pin and put it outward. And so as you do this, the fewer bands that are on that center pin, the easier it's going to get. And then we're back to the last one here. And so that's what it should look like. And now what you want to do is take the bottom band from all of these pins. There should be 2 bands now on each pin. And you're going to take that bottom one, pull it over the top, and it's going to get tight against this cap band. It's going to make a slip knot. So you just want to work your way around. It really doesn't matter what direction you go for this part or where you start. You just want to make sure you do it for all of the pins. And now you can see that that center cap band got much looser, and so it's against this center pin. And then the very last thing you want to do, which is the most important step, is you want to move this whole piece, this cap band, off of that center pin so it's not caught up in there. So you want to reach from the top of the pin above here and pull it down towards the bottom, just so it's not caught on that center pin. Push all of this down. And now I'm going to start with my next color, which I have a little bit darker green. Again, I'm starting in the center and I'm going diagonally to that bottom row diagonally to the left. And then I'm just going to work my way around in that clockwise direction, always from the center, and just moving to the next one over every time. You always want to push down so you have room to add more. And then you want to add your cap band. So you're taking the same color band. Really, you could use any color you wanted, but I'm going to do the same color. Double it on your hook and then place it right on the top. And then you want to take your hook. You're going to push back on the top two bands, which is the cap band. Grab that very next band. Hold the cap band in place with your finger and release this from the center and pull it back on itself. And then again from that center, push back. It's going to be those top two bands that are the cap band. Grab the next band in line, and you're just going to keep repeating that same pattern, releasing the band. It's the same concept as the starburst, so if you've ever made a starburst bracelet, you should be really good at doing this. And here's the last one. And now again we're going to be removing the bottom band of this color that we're working on. So right now we have that darker green band at the very bottom, and then the next is the color we're working on. So we're just removing the bottom band from this upper color, pulling it over the top. I'm going to do that for all 6 pins. It's going to make that slip knot, and you want it to get up against. Make it nice and snug. And now next we want to remove this bottom band of that first color, that dark green. So now I'm going to work my way around. Again, it doesn't really matter which direction you go for this, just as long as you get all 6 of them removed. And then that last important step, we want to get this off of the center pin. So we're going to be pulling it from the top down, because what we want to happen is we want the bracelet to grow and work its way out through these 2 pins in the bottom row. So you always want to make sure it's working its way down. Now I'm going to push down on all of these bands, and I'm going to switch to my next color, which I have this lighter green. I'm starting on this center pin and moving diagonally down to the left, and then I'm just going to work my way around in that clockwise direction. Always you want to keep pushing down. I can't stress that enough, or you won't have room, especially with that center pin. Now you want to take your band and double it. You can either do it on your hook, or you can do it just with your hands if you don't want to bother with the hook. And so again, I'm taking my hook, pushing back on the top 2 bands, grabbing that next band, hold the cap band, and then get it back on that pin, and then just keep going around in that counterclockwise direction. So once you've done it a few times, you should get the hang of it. And now that I've done that, what I want to do is remove this bottom band of just this top color we're working on. I'm not doing anything with the bottom just yet. So I have this light green. I'm taking the bottom band, pulling it over the top, making that slip knot. Just going to work my way around, making sure I do it with all 6 pins. And then once I've done that, I want to take this bottom layer, that's of the darker color green, and just remove that. It should be nice and loose. And then once I've done that, the last thing I'm going to do is remove this from the center pin. I don't want it to get hung up there, so I'm grabbing it from above and pulling it down. And as I've said, this bracelet needs to work its way out through the front, so you can sort of start to get it to come out the front here. You want to push all of these bands down. And then we're going to switch to our last color, which I have white. Again, I'm starting in the center and moving down to the left. And then I'm just going to keep going around in the clockwise direction. And then I want to add that cap band. I'll show you how you can do it if you don't want to bother using your hook. It's a little bit quicker, in my opinion. I just place it on, twist, and then place it back around, just with my fingers. Whichever you think works best for you. And now I want to take the hook, push back on these top 2 bands, grab that next one in line here, move it out, and just keep going around in that counterclockwise direction. We're going opposite this time. And your bands should just come out pretty easily. You shouldn't have to pull very hard on them. You shouldn't have any bands breaking on you. And then once again, we want to remove the bottom of this color we're working on. So I'm just removing that bottom white. It's actually, if you look at the pins, it's going to be the center band, but it's going to be that bottom white. Just work my way around. And then make sure it's nice and snug against the center. And now I want to remove that bottom band of the other color. Should be just one band on all of the pins of that lower color. And then finally, I'm taking this center cap band that has all the other bands connected to it and pulling it forward. And you want to make sure when you're doing that, that all of these other bands still stay on the pins. So you want to push all of these down and make sure nothing pops off. And then again, you're just pulling it down through the front here. So now I'm back to the dark green. I'll show you this one more time. I'm starting on this center pin and going down and diagonally to the left. And then just going around. Now as your bracelet starts to grow, it is going to be a little bit in the way here of you grabbing these bands on this pin, but just have to carefully work around it. I'm going to take another dark green band and put it on the top for the cap band, just doubling it. And now I'm taking my hook, pushing back on those top 2 bands, grabbing the next band, hold this cap band in place, And then just work around the circle, going in that opposite direction. And now what you want to do is remove the bottom band of that color that you're dealing with. So I have the dark green. And then make sure that's nice and tight. And now I want to remove the bottom band, which is going to be the other color, the previous color. So I have white. And then finally, I want this center cap band to get off of that middle pin. I'm going to just pull it down so it's off of that. Push all of these down and keep moving this forward. So I will fast forward here. When your bracelet is to the length that you'd like it and you're ready to take it off the loom, what you're going to do is, I'll start here on this center pin on the left hand side. You should have just one band on all of these pins. So I'm going to just put it on my hook and put it straight across, place it right on the top. I'll go to this next pin, down to this bottom row. Take this band and just place it up and diagonally so it's straight across. And then finally I'll go to this last pin on the bottom row, grab this band, again just put it straight across. And so now I've narrowed it down to 3 pins, and what I'm going to do is take the bottom band and just pull it over the top on all 3 of these pins. And so that leaves me with just 3 bands left. So what I'm going to do is take my hook, I'm going to pick up this first band, make sure it stays on, I can hold it on with my finger, grab this next band, slide that on, again hold them both with your finger, and then finally this last one. It's going to be your 3 loose bands, and what you want to do is take a clip. I have an S clip here, and I'm just going to get these 3 loose bands to go through the clip. Make sure all 3 of them get on there. And then on the other end you'll see you have this circle that has all the bands tight against it, so there's really nothing to hook onto there. So what you can do is take another band of that same color, I have this dark green, and I'm going to take my hook and put it right through the center, go on one side and then come out the other. And then I'm going to take this band and just pull it through and then get it back on so that I have the both loose ends on my hook. And then I'm going to put these 2 bands through this other side of the clip. And so here is your bracelet. It has the different shades of green, and it has a circle in the center. It's a little bit hard to see, but it has a circle that is the cap band in the whole center. Here is another bracelet that I made using this same pattern. This time what I did was I used all the colors of the rainbow. on each of the levels, but then as I went to the next level, I shifted everything one pin over. So I did that every time, so it made this spiral pattern. And here is another one that I made where I kept the colors in the same position for every layer. So you can see I used 3 different colors, and it made like a vertical stripe. So as you can see, there are a lot of different color patterns that you can come up with using the hollow circle pattern. I hope you've enjoyed this video. You can always leave me comments on YouTube or Facebook, or feel free to send me pictures of your creations. Thank you.